Dee 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 dee. Keto living is the life for me. Coffee, cooking, and recipes. Spending my days with my doggies. So be a sport. Set your alarm for Wednesdays for the Warden's Report. Welcome to the Warden Report. And look, I've got that natural sunlight coming in. It is the afternoon. It is actually 4:15. And I want to welcome you to this week's Warden Report, the actual last week of 2024, y'all. So when this goes out, it'll actually be the first. So Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. How's it going so far? We're still in 24. So what I 2024 is done with. I am still trying to figure out where this year went because sorry, there we go. And because I still remember, of course, I guess I should remember it, but it still feels like we were just doing the no spin challenge, which was last January, and here we are going to be in January. It's just crazy. So I want to know, reflecting back. So now when you're watching this, today is the 1st. Reflecting back over 2024, what were some, I want you to comment, what were 3 things you were grateful for in 2024? What were 3 accomplishments you made in 2024? Think about those. Take a minute to really show gratitude for the things you did in 2024. Think about what you accomplished, what you were grateful for last year. Because I feel like this time of year, it's so focused on resolutions for 2025. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What shall we do? What are we going to accomplish? So many people starting diets and exercise plans and just generally, this is the year I'm going to do it. And this is the year I'm going to do this, this, and this, and so forth. And it's like, but sometimes we need to take time to reflect back to 24. How did those things go? What are we happy about that we did? Because it's so easy to say what we want to do, but what did we actually do? What are we proud about in ourselves, right? I'm just shocked. I'm excited. I mean, a quarter of the century. We're already a quarter of the century into the 2000s. A quarter of 2000 is over with. Somebody born in this year has a high probability of seeing the year 2100. Like, think back, so many of us born in the 1900s. I mean, it would be crazy if we actually lived to see 2100, right? Because that would make many of us centurions, and I don't see that I'll make that. I don't know if I would want to make that, because I would be, like 120 something years old. I don't know if I'd want to do that. But I think, a lot has happened. If you think of the 1900s and the now, a lot has changed. And so who knows in 75 years what all is going to happen, right? Some of you, I know, have been around for 75 years, or close to it. So think of like when you were a child versus now, how much has changed for a child born now, that's I was watching something earlier about It was somebody in their 20s, and I was like, wow, I can't believe they did that. And I was like, but you know what? It's a totally different world than when I was in my 20s. So if I was in my 20s again, I might have done something like that because it is different, right? So anyways, going on differences and changes. If y'all don't know, I do enjoy in the financial space, I enjoy Ramit Sethi. Um, there is motion at my door. Huh, I don't see anybody. Oh no, now I see it. And another Amazon. I'll go look. But anyways, sorry. I had a pop up. So anyways, Ramit Sethi. So he's the one that was like My Rich Life, and he's just coming out with a book for couples and money, which I really want to get that book, but I'm cheap, so I'm waiting until it's in the library. But I really want to read it. I've been watching a lot of his interviews with couples, and I've picked up some things to like learn, because I like how he really gets into the psychological aspect of money and how we think about it. And he's very much not a shame person. I don't like anybody who shames somebody for their financial decisions. I mean, it's just, to me, that's the same as shaming somebody in food related. Like, would you ever think of somebody, if any of us came and told me, oh, Shelly, I just ate Taco Bell, I don't know, and I wouldn't be like, how dare you put that Taco Bell down? You're just stupid for doing that. I would never do that. And I don't think that's the correct approach. Maybe for some people that works, but I think for the majority of us, we don't want to be shamed or talked down to or treated that way when it comes to our food decisions. And I feel the same way when it comes to money or financial decisions. I don't personally like the shame method. I like okay, let's get into it, because when you think about finances, and again, so many parallels between financial health and food health, right? Nutrition. Because a lot of it is, how were you raised? How was food presented to you as a child, as a young adult? How were you taught? How did your parents teach you about food and nutrition? And then how you kind of repeat that same cycle, or you go in even thinking, oh, I saw, my mother did yo-yo dieting, which I don't think she did. I don't know. But just say, oh, she did so many yo-yo diets. I'd never do yo-yo dieting. But then you're always yo-yo dieting, right? And you're like, oh, no, I don't do that. I just like to change things up or whatever. You look at it differently, but you're still repeating those same habits. So that's where I like when someone understands that when we make financial decisions, it's not just an ego thing, that a lot of it is ingrained in us, and we subconsciously believe those things without realizing that, right? So he's been putting out this series. I get his emails, but again, so many parallels between this and nutrition. So the one he sent out earlier was talking about how, when it comes to, now he was saying, like, any type of behavior, if you want to change a behavior, it starts with changing the self-talk, your self-talk. That's where you first begin to change your behavior. So instead of, and especially with this new year coming up, instead of saying, well, this new year's coming up, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm trying to do this, and I'm going to try working out 3 times a week, I'm going to try doing this, I'm going to work on such and such. Instead, what you want to say is, I eat healthy. So the presence, this is already starting, right? You're not going to try. You're not going to work on. What he says, when you use those words, try and work, it means subconsciously, oh, I have to make a decision. So when I go out to eat, because I try to eat healthy, I have to decide if I'm going to get dessert or not. That's a decision. And guess what? We all get decision fatigued. So instead, when you go, I eat healthy, then that means, hey, this is who you are. You are a healthy eater. And so when you go out, you already eat healthy. You're already going to make healthy decisions because that is who you are. And so it's really changing the way you identify yourself. Okay, how do I identify? So if you want to say something like, oh, I know what this is, sorry. If you want to say something like, I want to work out several times a week, just say, hey, I work out several times a week. I work out 3 times a week. I do DDPY. Like if you hear Heath, he'll talk about, yeah, I do DDPY. He doesn't say, I try to do DDPY. He says, I am doing DDPY. And so it's having that mind shift right there, choosing those words, choosing those self-talk. So if you're going into this year saying, you know what, first of all, that's why I wanted you to start by thinking of what you accomplished in 2024. Don't you love the sun rays? Instead, don't focus on the negativity. And I've seen some posts like, oh my gosh, 2024, I went off the rails. I did this, I did that. So I'm going to try keto again in January. I'm going to try BBBB&E. I'm going to try a reset. I'm going to try this, right? Instead, say, you know what? No. You're here. You know what's healthy. You already know that, right? So instead of saying, this is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try keto. I'm going to try being strict keto starting January 1st. Say, no, I am strict keto or I am keto. And if you stick to that, no, I am keto, then you're not having to make those mental decisions every single day on if you're going to be keto or not. You just are. You're keto. Say it right out. You are keto. And just go on with that. And you will do fine. So I really like that one. It's a psychology-based mindset tips. And then the other one he sent in is, I thought this was interesting. Our brains are built to prioritize short-term rewards. So if you think about, okay, this is, in 2 years, I want to be a size 1. Then it gets so far away and you're like, I don't know if I'll ever reach that. But if you're like, you know what? In a month's time, I want to drop a pound. That short little reward, because at the end of the month, hey, maybe you lost 1.5 pounds. You could be like, wow, look at me. I did this because I am keto and I lost the weight. I already got that little reward for doing it. So sometimes think of, here's your overall, where you want to go in the long term, but try to think of it as, how can you break that down into shorter term rewards? And I thought that was really good too. And I've kind of heard that before as well. So set the shorter goals. And then also he says another strategy is to refocus on the goal, not the effort it will take. And so, and what you want to do instead of thinking about, oh, okay, so we're just going to do this because I know everybody's out there thinking it. In January, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And so to do that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go work out 5 times a week. I'm going to have to start tracking everything I eat. And I'm going to have to weigh everything. And I'm going to have to really hone in on portion controls. Oh my gosh. And then guess what? You're like, oh my gosh, that is too much work. I'm never going to do this. So instead, don't get bogged down by those efforts that you have to do. Instead, you want to focus on the reward that you're going to earn and just be like, you know what? I do work out 3 days a week and I'm going to do this, and not get stuck on all the work you have to put into it. And then just make sure as you go through things that you do celebrate those wins. So celebrate as you accomplish things. Those are so important. And sometimes we get so bogged down in our daily lives, in work, and family, and everything else that's going on, that we forget to step back and acknowledge when we've done good things or when we have accomplished a goal that we set out for. So take those times to really focus in on those rewards. Finally, the last thing he sent is about negativity. Do you know our brains are wired for negativity and fear? So we just naturally have those with us to look at what's bad, right? And I know I'm guilty of this, y'all, because I have certainly done that. I will, like at work this week, there's been a couple struggles, and immediately I'm just like, oh, I'm the worst. I suck. I'm just blah, 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 all these things. But then today, after having like a meeting with this other party who was just like really explaining things, not only did I walk away feeling like I learned a lot more of the inner workings, but it gave me a lot of tools that then I could share with the rest of my coworkers, that even though they've been doing it for years, they might not know about these because they didn't show me these. So they might not know about them. So maybe this is, like, okay, I had that struggle so that then we can all grow. But at the time, we have these negative thoughts. And I know personally, negative thoughts show up all the time for me. Like all the time, I have these negative things. And what Ramit was suggesting in this one is you got to separate your thoughts from your feelings. So when you get a thought in, whether it's positive or negative, just acknowledge that. Say, okay, I hear you thought. Then think about, if you want to go into it further, think about, okay, why am I thinking this? Is this what are my feelings surrounding this thought? And then think about, okay, let me separate the negative thought from the feeling I have of that. And then let me think of the thought on its own. So completely separate from the feelings. Think of the thought and say, okay, is this thought even valid? So like when I was thinking of, when I was being really hard on myself, y'all, I was just like, you're just a effing moron, right? And I was like, okay. The feelings were, I was frustrated and I was upset because I wasn't getting, I felt like, okay, this is so, like, why am I not grasping this as well as I think I should? What's going on that I can't comprehend this correctly? What is it? What am I doing? And I was just so upset and just so very frustrated. And then because all of the other people who are trained on what I'm doing were actually out, like they're off on PTO. And even though they told me ahead of time, if you run any problems, just, like message us and we'll help you. I felt bad because this is their day off. I shouldn't be, hey, I have this going on, I feel bad doing that because it's like, this your day off. You shouldn't have to work, right? You're already paid off. So I felt bad about that. So I'm separating out, okay, that's why that negative thought came in, is because of all of those feelings. So then I want to ask myself, is the thought valid? No, that's not a valid thought. Like, I know I'm not like that. So what should I do about this thought? And like with that thought, it's like, okay, you're just spiraling and you're doing the most negative damage to yourself. And then the other thing you want to think about is, what if the things went the exact opposite way? How would I have felt? Oh my gosh, I would have felt amazing. But then I wouldn't have had that negative thought because everything would have went really well. And if it went really well, then I can make it get there. I just needed some additional like training or learning or kind of time doing this, right? We can't ride a bicycle for what is it called in France? You know, little when they get on the bicycles. I can't go from never renting a bicycle and expect to participate in that bike race tomorrow. You know, it's just not little steps, right? And sometimes you need more training or more learning and more time practicing before you can then go, okay, I'm going to do the, is it Iditarod? I don't know. Anyway, somebody will comment and tell me. So it's thinking of those things. So next time you have a negative thought, separate out the feelings, look at that thought and say, is this even a valid thought? And then what should you do about that thought? And then what if the opposite of that thought was true? And what if things went really, really well? Tell me what you think of this. So I thought it was some interesting reads. Of course, he goes into more details. It kind of incorporates how it has to do with money, right? Finances. That's what his thing is. So, but again, I just feel like there's so many parallels between financial and nutrition. They're just so similar. So I just thought those would be good to share. So I hope you do too. I am off work now. I'm going to go and feed the dogs. I think they're, where are you at, babies? There's one. And there's two. Oh, look, she's already up, aren't you? Oh. She's like, oh, Mom, you got to feed us, right? Right? I have to feed you? Well, you have to tell the camera. She is like always so like, oh my God, I'm starving. How could you starve me like this? So I am going to go feed them and then get set up for the Friday night feast because it is Friday. Hey y'all, happy Saturday. Wow, what a huge difference a week makes, because last Saturday, you know, the stores were crazy everywhere. Today, it's like, I'm like, are these stores even open? Like, I went to Aldi and there was only 3 cars in the parking lot. So, yeah, it's been nice at the stores, but so many of y'all were talking last night about the rain and stuff, and I was like, oh, it's good here. OMG. I ran into it. I don't know if you can tell from my hair. Looks crazy. I promise I did brush it before I left today. Anyhow, so I had my follow-up on my contacts, and I told y'all optics, actually, those were the ones I had, I think, in 21 and 22. Last year, up until now, I've been using Bioinfinity something. And so I went in and talked to her, and I told her what happened. I was like, look, you know, Monday everything seemed fine with them when I was reading everything, and then it just got to where I couldn't get them to be so fine-tuned on the small numbers. And I said, and I noticed my prescription on my right eye went down, so maybe that's it. So she then, you know, tested me, and yeah, like right away, I couldn't read anything with my right eye. And so then a few minutes later, I could read it. She goes, I think your contacts are rotating. So then she looked and she said, yeah, with the Ultra, even in my left eye, it was moving a lot. And she goes, just in between, like you blink and it's moving 15 degrees. You know, I don't know this stuff. But anyways, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Anyways, I'm in line at Dutch. So anyways, I was like, oh, okay. And she goes, so, you know, that like it'll be centered and then it won't be. And I said, oh, that kind of, like, I wondered, because there was times where the numbers were like crystal clear, and then a minute later it was really hard to read. And she goes, yeah, I think because the ultras are actually bigger lenses. She goes, for some reason they're rotating in your eyes, so that's what's causing you a lot of issues. She goes, but I think your right eye, it's correct having the lower prescription, so going from 4.5 to 4.25. It's like, okay. So then she had me swap out a couple lenses and redo it. And she goes, yeah. She goes, okay, I think what we need to do is the Bio Infinity, because you like those, and they did work really well for the last year and a half. And here, I think Dutch Bros is coming. Okay, place my order, y'all. Get my drinks. So anyhow, so she, you know, did all that. She goes, okay, yeah, the Ultra is just not working for you, you know, for whatever reason. I don't know all the ins and outs, but, you know, they were just, did not want to stay correctly in my eye, but it seems like the Bio Infinity does stay in place. So she put in the prescription, but she's like, I still gonna get a trial pair for you, but since it's the end of the year, to get, you know, my money from my insurance, as they cover $120, she was like, so go ahead, get the prescription next door at Sam's, and then at Sam's, I think just as long as you don't open the box, then, and you have a 30-day, you know, then as long as you don't do that, you should be able to return them. So then I go next door, and it already started raining heavy, but I'm, you know, it's a short walk to next door. I get in there, and I have to wait because they're busy, and finally get to speak to somebody there. And I'm telling you, it is pouring down so heavy, I could barely hear. They're like talking, and I'm just like, okay, this storm is crazy. It's thundering so bad, and it just, yeah, not good, y'all, not good. Let me see if I can do it here. Maybe that's a little better. But anyways, I'm like, okay. So I get in Sam's, talk to the person there, and she has my prescription. And I was like, okay. So the doctor said that I can, you know, return these as long as I don't open the box. And she's like, ooh, well, we normally don't do that. She goes, but I could put a note on here, but it's a 30-day window. I was like, okay, that's cool. Well, I should know within 30 days. And it's the same brand I've used before, so I'm used to it. And the main thing is she's just changing the prescription on my right eye, you know, down to the 4.25. So she get those in, and also get the trial pair as well. So she was like, well, your insurance covers 130, so 2 boxes 119. So, and I was like, well, I don't want to go over 130. And she goes, you don't want to use up that last $10? I'm like, how do I use that up? I was like, no, I'm not going to pay anything. And I think my insurance restarts January 1st, so then I get, you know, another couple boxes in the new year. But I was just like, okay, sorry, y'all, I am moving so much. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So she orders it. Well, it is pouring down so bad, and she is like, oh, did you bring an umbrella? And I was like, of course not. I said, does Sam sell umbrellas? And they're like, it's seasonal. And they're like, don't you think they should be selling them year round? I'm like, yeah, because right now, how many umbrellas would they sell? Because I would be buying an umbrella because it is raining so bad. So the lady who checked me out, she goes, I'll get you an umbrella. And she gave me a Sam's umbrella, y'all. Now it is like the cheapest umbrella I've ever used, but it did help. So when I got out of Sam's, everybody was stuck right there by the door, which kind of makes me mad. Like, don't be blocking the door.
but they're all huddled there with their kids and all of their groceries because they don't want to go out in the rain. And I think like some of them, like the driver would go and they'd come up and then they could do it, but it was raining so bad. The rain was coming in sideways, y'all, sideways. So I'm like pushing my way through these people, and I have my umbrella out, and I'm having to put the umbrella like in front of me because the rain is literally coming that sideways. But it protected like my hair, and it basically from my waist up I was fine, but because the rain was coming so strong, waist down I am soaked, y'all. uh and I make it to my car, and get in there. The car was like just drenched on this side, so I always carry lots of extra napkins. I should carry a towel, but I dried as much as I could up. I turned the heater on, and then it was just raining, and there was tornado warnings, and so then I drove down to Kroger, and which is a different area. So where the Sam's is considered like Shenandoah slash the Woodlands, and I think this I forget what this area is called, but it's close to Spring. So it's a bit of a drive, and I get to Kroger. The rain had started slacking up, so I was like, okay, good. But there was some moments in the rain I'm driving that it was really hard to see because the rain is coming down so hard. But I managed because I was like, because at first when I got the tornado warning, I was still in Sam's. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, I hope Sam's building is protective, but I was able to drive, got to Kroger, and then I got inside Kroger, and then one of the meat packers, he was, talking to me. I don't know why people talk to me, but anyways, and I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, but the rain is past. He said the storm's passed now, and I'm like, how do you know inside here? And he was like, it's passed. I was like, well, I hope so because I'm still wet. And he was like, yeah, but if you have any kin in Shenandoah or the Woodlands, check on them. They got it really bad. I was like, that's where I was just now. All right, I'm pulling up. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. So, yes. And I told him, yeah, I just came from there and it was pouring rain and I'm soaked. I am finally home. And yeah, we have a lake again, lakefront property. But you can see, wow, it has really, really poured. So I'm going to show you what I got from the grocery store. We'll start with Aldi, even though it was the second stop. But anyways, had to get another egg life. You'll see here in a minute why. And then Heath likes this grated from Aldi, the Parmesan and Romano. I thought it had like spices in it. Well, maybe not. Or maybe I grabbed the wrong one without looking. Anyhow, sour cream, some Parmesan cheese, Romano tomatoes. So I think Roma tomatoes. I think we're going to slice them and kind of do like broiled tomatoes. And that's what the parm's for. Of course, my favorite butter from there for my coffee. Some more sweet potatoes. Again, I think it's for tomorrow night. He's got to have his grape tomatoes. And Heath was saying we were out of crushed red peppers, and these were actually 99 cents a container. So I grabbed 3 of them since they were on sale. And that's what I got from Aldi today. Not too much. Did pretty good there. Then H-E-B. So at H-E-B, that's my biggest stop of the day. First, I got the chicharrones, just the plain. I got 6 bags because they were on sale. If you buy 2, you get $1 off. So I got 6 of those. They also had on special 3-pound chub for $8.91. So I got one of those. It was a limit of 2. I probably should have got 2, but I didn't. No, why would I do that? Then, y'all, I'm so excited about this. They had their large avocados for 87 cents. So I ended up getting 10 of them. And let's see. Then I got heavy cream here. Yes, it's 28 cents more than the Aldi. But I have found that sometimes the name brands, well, I say name, but like H-E-B
and so forth, ends up being thicker than the Aldi one. So I was like, well, it's 28 cents. I'll just get this. And I know I got these. I don't think they're the cleanest, but they're good to have on occasion. I really love this kombucha, the cranberry cinnamon, so I grabbed another one of those. And then I got some spices here, y'all. So I was almost out of allspice, so I got some more of that. We used this in a couple of our spice blends. Then they were having a deal. Here, I'll show you this. He likes to have this like on his sweet potato or different foods. Then they were having a special on Morton and Bassett where it was $1 off. So I got this one, the Togarashi, and there's the ingredient, y'all. Sounds so good to me. Thought that would be good. And then, I don't know why, but I feel like I've heard about this in something I was watching. And since it was $1 off, I went ahead and got it. Let me know if you've had this before. So I'm going to try a little bit today on my lunch. Then, they were having a sale. All of their cheeses, like the specialty type cheeses, were all 20% off. Plus, if you bought the Sartori brand, you got an additional $1 off. So I got this tomato basil. Doesn't that look good? And I got, it's a garlic and herb. Again, $1 off plus 20% off. Or, well, they gave me 20% off first. I don't know why they didn't give the $1 off, so I had to go to the customer service to get my $1 cash. So, yeah, I thought that was a really good deal on those. Then I got, look, it's marked down, y'all. You know I love my markdowns. And I thought this would be good for my dinner today, because it's already after 3. But it's meatballs with zucchini and marinara. It's probably not the cleanest, but this is HEB does these. They call them Meal Simple and low carb lifestyle. So they have several to choose from. And today a lot were marked down, but this was the cheapest. There was a few that were like 5 something and a few that were $6 even. I was like, well, I'll try this. Meatball sounds good. So I got that. And then finally at HEB, I got these Band-Aids. If you watch the MS Journey on Sunday, then you know why. So one's for one knee, one's for the other. So I got those. And now we'll go to Kroger. So at Kroger, first things first. Look, I got this beautiful skirt steak. I did not pay $10.99. I paid $6.99 a pound. So I got one of those. That's going to be for Friday night. So make sure y'all tune in so you can see what we're doing with the skirt steak. And then they had cabbage for 49 cents a pound. Plus I had another, I don't know, some kind of coupon. So I paid $1.48 for this whole head. And then they had their medium avocados on sale for 79 cents each, but a limit of 5. No limits at HEB. So I got 5 of those. And then in the markdown produce, look, a whole bag of jalapenos for 99 cents. And they're nice big size avocados. Jalapenos. And I also got, look, these beautiful bell peppers. All 4 of those, 99 cents. And I got mushrooms marked down. I got 2 of them, 77 cents each. Plus, I had like a 30-cent off coupon or something. So one of the packages, maybe it was 50 cents. Because I think one of them I paid 27 cents for. So cheap, cheap. And then finally, the other markdown I got, $1.12 for these 3 containers of green olives. So that'd be perfect to put with my lunches for the week. My lunch, look, when we get to Saturday, these avocados are pretty messed up. But I will eat it. I cut off all the really brown parts. Here is that low carb meal I got at HEB. So we've got, what is that, 6 meatballs, and it said a blend of beef and pork.
And then the zucchini. I mean, it looks good. I'm for $5 for a quick meal. For me, it works good on a Saturday. Yeah, I think that looks really good, actually. And then I'm also going to have these green olives, so no brine. So again, I paid about 40 cents each container of these. So I think that's perfect. And then I've got that cheese that I got. So this is the garlic and herb. And this is the tomato basil by Sartori. And then I'm also going to put some of this fenugreek on that. And I think I might even do some of the togarashi, but I might do that on the avocados. And of course, as always, I mean, does anybody live a life without red bits? I'll be putting that smoked salt on my avocados as well. Hey, I know my lipstick's messed up. You don't have to comment about it. I just ate and I haven't refreshed. But I thought I would try those two Sartori cheeses. So this is the garlic and herb. Now, Heath was actually on break, so he got to try them too. And I'll tell you what his favorite was. So here's the garlic and herb. That's so good. Okay. And this is the tomato basil. Now, the tomato basil is a little more greasy on the outside. The garlic and herb is, I guess, a little bit drier, but flavor-wise, the garlic and herb is amazing. Really good flavor to it. Tomato basil is also good. I mean, you're not going to... It's cheese. Is there ever bad cheese other than vegan cheese? So, you're not going to go wrong, but... I think the garlic and herb wins out, and that was also Heath's favorite as well, which surprised me because I really got the tomato basil as he loves tomatoes so much. So I thought he would really enjoy that, but he's like, no, the garlic and herb is the one. So yeah, that's pretty good here. We got that. Thought I got a good deal on those, so yay. So I just finished my lunch. The first time I ate today, and it's now 4:45, y'all. I did sleep in a little bit, as I felt like, and I took a little while longer getting ready, because my eye appointment was at 11:15, and I ended up, I was like, I can either get up early, like I would have to get up really early to do the grocery shopping first, and I did not, because I'm just not built that way. So I got to basically I started after my eye appointment, so that's what really put me behind. Gosh, it just takes so long, right? So anyways, I am going to feed the dogs now, clean up some stuff around here, because we have our supper club tonight, and I'm excited for that and to see all of our channel members. I love these. So yeah, if you're interested and want to be part of that, hit that join button below, or you can follow the link to Buy Me a Coffee and you can join as a member there. Buy Me a Coffee actually gives us more of we get 95%. Versus if you do the join button, we get 60%. But I'm excited either way. Whatever is easiest for you is what matters. So thank you so much either way. And again, always thank you to our channel members. Y'all really help us so much, and I appreciate that. And then I understand not everybody can do that. If you can't, that's fine. Another great way to help our channel is anytime you're going to buy Redmond's or Ketochow or any swag from Sharon, and I think we have a couple other affiliates, just use our affiliate link, and that is a huge help as well, y'all. And then lastly, you can help, and this really does help a lot, y'all. Give that thumbs up right now. Hit that like, and then leave a comment of at least 4 words, and that really does help the channel a great deal. So thank y'all so much. I would show you the eye drops that I've been given to Heath. This is the brand I've been using. So when he goes to the eye doctor tomorrow, he's going to show him this as well. At lunch today, I've got avocados, and yes, I have 2 of those medium ones because they really need to be eaten. And we kind of overdid it because he told me to get extra, but then we actually didn't need extra, so guess what? That's what I have it. And one of these green olives. And then this is a recipe video that's coming out, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, but basically it's a creamy, cheesy cabbage dish. And then what I did today is I added some crumbled bacon to make it more of a meal than a side dish. For dinner tonight, underneath all this is a little tiny sweet potato. But basically, I took the leftover beef fillet and chunked it up. So I basically did beef tips. It's almost kind of like a stroganoff, but I used really good beef. And we're serving it over a sweet potato. But I did add onions, mushrooms, and jalapenos, a little bit of sour cream, heavy cream, and butter. And that kind of made its own little gravy here. And I just thought this would be a good way to use up basically that filet. It had ends that were really thin, and this was a good way of using up the smaller pieces of that. Guess where we're at for New Year's Eve? I got off work, about an hour and a half early, and I skipped lunch, and we're off work. So we're at Good Company Fish Camp. Here we go. Fish Camp. We're starting out each with our own of the roasted oysters with no breadcrumbs, because we were like 5 is just too hard to split. And I was like, where's my fish one? And I got us a side of a half dozen of the raw Gulf oysters. And I'm on a date with this handsome man. So, yeah, we're enjoying this evening. I hope everybody else had a wonderful New Year's Eve. And for my entree, I got a beautiful looking salmon topped with lemon butter and bacon. And then underneath that is a charred tomato. And of course, some lemon. And then he's bringing our sides. For our sides, we have the Brussels and broccolini. He's going to try the broccolini, y'all. Happy New Year. And I am going to post this shortly, so if you're watching, it got posted, right? But last night, Heath and I did go out for dinner, because first we went to the eye place, and then we were like, well, since we're out, so we really wanted oysters. And oh my gosh, those oysters at Fish Camp, the roasted ones are so good. And then we had, it reminded me a lot whenever one year Renee came and she brought fresh, a huge sack of oysters from her area in Rockport. And then when she got here, we roasted them. Well, I guess we grilled them, right? We put them all on the, I guess we smoked them. Put them all on the smoker. Anyways, we cooked them fresh. And as they were getting done, we were eating them as we were pulling them off. So yeah, that's how good they were. And these are up there, y'all. They're just so good. And what I like, it is expensive to go there. We spend a big chunk of change. But what I like, and what Heath and I were discussing on our way home, is we've never gotten a bad meal there. We've never gotten bad service. We've never gotten bad meal. And they've always been very accommodating. Like, they used to have chicharrones on their menu that you could get in place of the chips that are served with the capuchana. And last time we were asking, they were like, well, we don't fry them in-house anymore. They were like, but, because Good Company Cantina's literally next door. And they said, we go over there and probably get some if you want us to. And so we were like, nah, that's okay. But they're willing to do that, right? So sometimes, that's the difference between going to a local chain, it is local, and that is a little bit more is they're usually more accommodating. You know, they want you to walk away happy, versus sometimes if you go to like a big chain, like we love Landry's, but they're not always as accommodating, or they're just kind of like, okay, sure, we could do that. You know, it just like, okay, service could be hit and miss, the steaks can be hit or miss. um but a good company, so like Heath, reason he also wanted to go there is he got that filet mignon and he just loved it. Like, he was still talking about how tender it was. He could just use a butter knife to cut it, and he was still thinking about that, y'all. So for fresh oysters, like they get them fresh. And in fact, I guess they had ran out, because at one point I saw at the oyster bar they'd flipped one of the oyster types they had. I think it was the Appalachian, and they flipped it over, so they must have got rid of their last of those oysters. But that's it. They have a really nice. We never sit there. Let me know. Anybody else like a bar person? Not like a bar as where you go, but like at a restaurant. A lot of restaurants here, at least, they have the main dining and then they have bar seating. Or at this place, they call it the oyster bar. But you could sit there, and of course, you could see the fresh shuck oysters, and you could get like other fresh seafood like crab fingers and crab claws, all those different things right there. And of course, they'll make mixed drinks for you as well, or beer. I don't know. You know, I don't really drink any, really. Never been a big drinker, so I don't know. Don't ask me all that stuff. But anyways, and you could just sit there, and I saw there was a lot of couples like sitting there, and of course, you know, in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're probably like on like a first date, and they're just getting to know each other. Uh, but I've never been a person like that. I've never enjoyed like, oh yeah, let's sit in the bar. First of all, I hate the seating itself. I am horrible like getting up on those. To me, it's like a tower chair. I think because I am average height. I'm not going to say short. I'm average height. And it just feels like I have to climb, like I'm at a rock wall and I have to climb it to get up on the chair. And then once I'm up there, my feet are just dangling. I mean, sometimes they'll have like the little footrest, but still, it's not that comfortable. So I'm just dangling up there, and I'm like, if I move wrong, then I'm gonna fall off and like crack my head open. And so I've never been comfortable with those seats. So and I get it, like for Heath, he's like, oh, no big deal, because we've been places where that's the only type of seating, and I'm like, ugh, you know, these hipster places. But Heath will be like, oh, no big deal. And I'm like, yeah, because that's like a chair at your height. Like, those chairs are for people who are over 6 foot tall. They can easily sit at those type of chairs, because that's probably the type of chair you should be sitting in. But you know, for anyone that's 5'5" and under, you know, you want a regular chair, or at least I do. I can't speak for everybody. So anyways, so yeah, we went there last night. It was just so nice. I just love spending time with my Heath and us, just, you know, chit chatting, mostly about the channel, y'all. Mostly it's about the channel, about what we, you know, want to do in 2025, about how, you know, kind of patting ourselves on the back right now, because we have several videos scheduled in the future. So we're just like really happy that we're kind of ahead of the game going into the new year, and talking about, okay, so what are we going to record this weekend so we keep staying ahead and things like that. So coming up with some more like things we want to record, our recipes. And then when my birthday coming up, oh, you know what? We put birthday and we forgot to tell them last night. Oh, well. But with our birthday mine coming up in a week. Anyways, we, you know, we're just talking about, okay, so what do we want to do in the Friday night feast? And Heath's idea is that every Friday night feast be something I love. like my favorite foods all month long. And then the cook along, he said it should be one of my favorite things too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is hard for me to decide my favorite foods. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to like sit down and actually think about what are my favorite foods, y'all. That's hard because I like so many foods, but now just a couple just popped in my head. So, okay. And then we got to figure out like one of my favorite foods, and I don't know how to say it, the Chinese word, but it is soup dumplings, like pork soup dumplings. But I have no idea, without using almond flour and stuff, how you would make that keto. Because now if anybody has any ideas, let me know, because I know the original ones, the dough, it's a steamable dough, and these, I don't know how to do steamable keto doughs, but that is my absolute favorite food. It just, so what it is, if you're not familiar, it's like just a little, like, think of like a Chinese dumpling, right? The steamed ones. So it's a little like purse, and inside what you do is you gelatin the pork broth along, and you make usually like, it's like a little ball that you make with, a little bit of pork, little veggies, your seasonings, and the gelatin, so that the gelatin, what happens when you put that in then this little purse, when you steam them, that gelatin then dissolves into broth. So then you get the little purse, and it's got a little broth in there. And so what you do is you like bite just a little bit of it to let the steam out, because otherwise it is hot if you don't do that. Like Heath before, of course, has put the whole thing in his mouth, and he's like, ah. But you let a little steam off, and then that's where you can add like a little bit of ginger or soy. You add that in there, and then you just kind of slurp it out, like some of it out, and then when it's cool enough, then you can eat the whole thing. I just love that. So anyhow, I don't know how you would keto for that dough, because I don't think the fathead dough would work. I think the cheese would just end up being gooey. So I don't know. Thoughts. If you have any thoughts, let me know. But I do have some other ideas of some food. It just came to me that I was like, okay, that is like one of my favorite foods. So I think we could get that one Friday. So we'll see. Stay tuned. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Y'all, it really helps us. So starting your New Year's, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and make sure you have all bell notifications on. And if you can, share the video, especially our recipe videos, like the sausage ball one. I love how many of y'all are making it, but if you can actually share the link to our video so it gets out there more, that would really be helpful. Like you just say, hey, I made these sausage balls. Here's the link to our video. And then that way, that really does help us, y'all. So yeah, that's New Year. So we did that, and then we, came home, and let's see, we watched a new show, No Good Deed. Does anybody else watch that? With Lisa Kudrow, Ray Romano, Luke Wilson, oh gosh, there's some good people in it. Oh, Lisa Cardinelli, Catherine Moning, and if you know who she's from, I remember like the first show I saw her in. And she's definitely the same character in this show. But anyways, so that was a good, and we just kind of, had our time together, and it was great. And actually, Heath, of course, fell asleep before midnight. I managed to kind of stay up, I guess, And I remember when it was midnight, and of course the neighbors, oh my gosh, you guys. But I woke Heath up at midnight, and we kissed, and then he went swiftly back to sleep. And then he woke up, I think, like an hour later, and he's like, oh, heck, it's already after midnight. And I was like, yeah, I kissed you. He's like, oh, yeah, you did. So cute. But yeah, our neighbors, y'all, oh my gosh. Like Heath said, he was like, man, I'd like to have firework money. I was like, yeah, but even if we had firework money, we wouldn't be spending on fireworks because that's just not our thing. And so, but the neighbors, geez, they were lighting it up. They had several people over because the cars were there. And these are neighbors I don't like, but they were like really, really. And then you would think, okay, yeah, let them all out at midnight. Nah, 12:30. They, for some reason, at 12:30, they decided to launch a whole army full of freaking fireworks. So they were, I was like, why now? Why at 12:30 are you just blasting the neighborhood? But anyhow, so yeah, but our dogs, like Samson and Delilah, I know some people, and I've had dogs before that really had issues with that. Like Zoe would freak out with the fireworks, and I guess because she's a guard dog, right? That kind of made sense. Like she's like on high alert. But Samson and Delilah, they were sound asleep. Samson just, he was out. Delilah was snoring up a storm. In fact, I felt like she was maybe battling, like, oh, you're gonna be loud, I'm gonna be louder. So they, thankfully, I am actually very happy that they are like that because I know how upsetting, because you understand fireworks, but for the dogs that gets, or cats too, that get so anxious over fireworks, there's not like a way to tell them it's okay baby, like I've got you, it's fine, they're not going to get to you. And so they're just sitting there and they're suffering. So you try to give them stuff to help them calm down, or like I had the thunder shirt for Zoe, and I still don't think that worked very well, and different things like that. So you try, and you just feel so bad because you're like, oh baby, don't, it's okay, I'm here, I'll protect you. So I feel very fortunate that these two are just like, nah, we good, we don't care. Which I guess that if something was happening to us, would they just be like, meh? I don't know. Anyhow, so yes, that was our evening, and then today I'm start. Oh, you can't see because of all the foam. Let's see. No drama. That's what I want this year. No drama. I would love that, y'all. Okay. And Heath, the coffee he is doing now, and I know this is old, but he just pulls them. Bones Paranormal, and it's a spiced caramel pear. It was like a sample, I guess we got. I don't even know how long ago we got this. Somebody might have even given it to me. If you did, I'm sorry. But it's been in there, I guess, forever. And I have like a little, see right there, you can see some of the coffee right there. All of that is coffee, y'all. I think there might be a tea in there. But yeah, so he just pulls and puts it in my little coffee grinder right there. So the other exciting thing that happened yesterday, I posted about it on Facebook, but I'm going to show you here since I've talked about it here. If I get this up. Look, I got the new book by Ramit Sethi, or Sethi. Yes, I'm so excited. And look what it is. Y'all can't read that. We're talking about money with your partner. Actually felt good. And just, how to go through it together as a couple. And I'm just really excited, y'all.
I've been watching his different interviews and different little clips and everything about it. And I think that'll be really good for Heath and I. I nerd out on all this stuff. And I think Heath is just like, he doesn't know what to do. So hopefully this will help us. Because honestly, sometimes when I've had money discussions with Heath, it's not always a fun discussion. And like last year when I did the no spin January, he's very hesitant about that. So I just want to open things out, us kind of be on the same page, because I honestly feel like Heath and I really are on the same page, because we both really want the same things in life. But it's we both have our own views, and how we were raised with money I think was very different in a way. So it's kind of opening those things up, and being more like, okay, I look at money this way, and then he looked at the money another way, and then how we were each kind of like, I guess, the money mindset from our parents, and how do we apply that today, and the how that impacts us. So I'm excited to start reading that today and see what we do, and just really have a good future ahead of us. That's what I want for us. So yeah, thank you so much. I know this one's been a little bit longer, but I hope everybody is having a wonderful new year, and I hope that everybody continues to have a very prosperous, very happy, and a very healthy new year. We are here for you. We will be here to help cheer you on, inspire you, and you inspire us, and we can do all of this together, right? Life is about, you need really a community to continue on. And that's what I've watching different shows that we have been watching, it's like, seems to be the consensus that alone we are weak, but together we are strong. And that's how I feel about the Horde. As the Horde gathers, the more we gather, the stronger we become, and the more we can strengthen each other. And that's what I want to see this year. Thank y'all so much for watching. Love all of y'all. Can't wait to see so many of you in March. So looking forward to this. Y'all, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And stay tuned to see y'all of our wonderful channel members. Y'all have a wonderful new year. Bye.